Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am LoginPC TV, and today I will be bringing you my Magicka Nightblade build for the Wolfhunter patch. I have a lot of experience with this class, and I've crunched a lot of numbers, have a lot of setups, and this patch I believe this is the best setup to run. Obviously it's not all that you have to run, there's plenty of different setups you can run for different playstyles you might have. But this is what I prefer, and this is what I've been having the most success and enjoyment playing. So starting right at the top here, we have 5-piece spell strategist on the front bar, Inferno staff with infused and a shot glyph to make our weave do as much damage as possible. That shot glyph and infused combined with our swallow soul light attack can put people down on its own. It's incredibly powerful. Inferno staff for the 8% extra single target damage that it gives us in the passes. Back bar, we're running 5-piece armor master. I hope to yell this out. It's defending and weapon and spell damage buff. That's for lining up our combo and making our damage on our front bar that much higher when we have that 320 extra damage. If you could time that, watch your proc glyph as soon as it, or you should watch your glyph proc as soon as that works, and you have your spell strategist on them, you can hit them with your burst and it will destroy them. Then the rest of it is we have 3 armor master here. We have 1 there, 1 legs, and armor master on the jewelry. And then 2 willpower here. We have 2 extra pieces we're actually running as willpower. You can run another 2 piece if you want, but willpower will be giving you the most resources, most bang for your buck here with 1400 max Magicka instead of 1000. And then the spell strategist 3 pieces. We have boots, gauntlets, and waist. The armor master we have 2 heavy. So it's 5 light, 2 heavy for this build, giving us the heavy passives here. We lose 2 of the light piece is for the passes, reducing our cost reduction and losing some magic recovery, but in the end it's a positive with the resistances we gain. I think we gain about 2000 spell and physical from the actual body pieces themselves, and then the passive is another 700. We gain some recoveries from constitution, which helps to equalize what we lose from the light passes, and then we gain some max health, making us harder to kill. You could run 5-1-1 to even increase the Undaunted more, but that 1 medium piece will really go to waste, and it's better to get the light or heavy passes from it. And then we have the Undaunted here to give that extra 2% max health, stamina, and Magicka for running those heavy pieces. And my high elf, this might change when the next patch comes out. I might switch to Breton once they change up the class passes if I crunch those numbers and they turn out to be better. Because I min-max everything, and I will probably switch to Breton if it gives me better numbers. For the glyphs, we're running 3 magic recovery. Now, last patch, you could run a little bit lower magic recovery because shields could take so much for you, but now that we've lost dodge chance and our shields are now easier to get through being critable, arguably they have resistances applied to them now, but with penetration and critting still now applying to shields, those shields will get obliterated. All it takes is one surprise attack that just wipes your shield and you don't even notice it. It's really tough for me to adapt to this because I'm used to knowing exactly how much damage my shield's going to take, so I can calculate, okay, I know they're not going to be able to get through my shield, so they're going on the full offensive here, thinking they're going to kill me, but I can actually kill them before they can kill me because I know how much my shield's going to take. Now with the RNG on the shields and the critting, it's difficult for me to judge that, and I have to play a little bit more defensive, and I'm going to have to use more shields because they're going to die quicker. And we lost dodge chance, which I'm happy about. I hated dodge chance. It was more just RNG in fights that I didn't want to deal with, but it does make me take more damage now, so I have to use more shields, and it sucks more of my Magicka, so I have to stack some more magic recovery. So we have the 3 magic recovery glyphs, and then for our monster piece, we're running Engine Guardian. I actually would run 2 1 pieces of magic recovery here in duels. I don't have those right now, though. So I run Engine Guardian Open World, which is a little bit inconsistent because you might just always get the health proc and you'll never get your Magicka bar generated, which sucks, but that's how it is. That's why I don't always want to run it. You can also run Infernal Guardian here for damage. I don't really like Scoria, although it is very valuable here. You can run 1 Dami House, 1 Infernal Guardian, whatever you want to do. Next patch, I will be running Symphony of Blades if they don't nerf it, because that's said it's going to be broken for recovery. If they nerf that, I'll probably run Stonekeeper because that's also going to be really good for stamina and magic recovery combined. Until then, though, I'm just running Engine Guardian. You can run Infernal Guardian, whatever you want to do here. All magic recovery glyphs, or Magicka glyphs, my bad. I need to gold out a couple of those. And then we have the glyphs that I went over on these. I am trying to still stack max Magicka to keep my shields high and prevent damage getting through my actual health bar. Although with Armor Master now proccing on the back bar, I am going more into resistances, as you can see, and I'm not too focused on getting my shield super big, especially now that they do get resistances applied to them. I tried to turn the negative into a positive by taking advantage of these resistances instead of just letting myself get crit to death through the shields. I know Armor Master is a controversial set. A lot of people hate it. It's cheese. It's also very, very strong, and with this setup, it's pretty awesome. And you won't actually see a lot of people run it without the heavy itself. I got one of my friends to craft me this so I can still run 5 light and have the Armor Master resistances. Pretty busted, but it's pretty funny watching people try to kill me with 25,000 health in light armor. And as for the actual stats here, we have the Cyrodiil buff, Battle Spirit. So we got about 23,500 health on the front bar. When we switch to back bar, that'll actually drop, or it'll go up to almost 25k, and now that's the difference. So it's just, if you're on your back bar and you switch bars, you'll see my health will deplete right there. Or if I go up. So if I switch that way, one sec, let's get it to work. 23.7. There you go. The health drops. So you got to be careful. If you're on your front bar and you switch to your back bar, your health will drop a little bit. I'm not too worried about the max health. I'm sitting at about 23,500. It's perfect for me. I've always had lower than that, and it's super nice being able to not always have to have a shield up now with this new setup. Max mag is 40k still. That's sufficient for me. I still get big shields, and with the spell strategist, my damage is high enough. I'm not running Necro anymore, even though I still run Shade, because I just felt like the shields were too vulnerable, and getting the resistances from Armor Master is just more worth it overall. Our stats here, we have there's 2,000 magic recovery unbuffed, about 688 stamina recovery, which, although it's kind of low, it works out fine with max stamina that we have of 14,000 and the tripods that we can pop whenever we need that stamina back, and if we're running Engine Guardian as well, our stamina is fine as long as we don't get super zerged and like CC'd back to back. Now buffed up here, this is as if we popped Entropy, our spell damage would be 1,500, and then our magic recovery goes to 2,300. That spell damage, you got to calculate spell strategist in there, and the weapon and spell damage glyph. And the magic recovery, that looks pretty low, and it is a little bit lower than I would like to have it. As I mentioned, I might use those magic recovery 1 pieces if I can get them. But as our moves go, we have siphoning attacks and elemental drain. If you are properly weaving your light attacks, each one of these moves gives you 600 magic recovery. So this 2,300 we have here is now 3,500. Yep. That is a lot better. I would never take these moves off if I didn't have to. I always have those on my bar. That recovery is unmatched, and Elemental Drain is a busted move with the pen it's giving you, and it costs nothing. So I think attacks, a lot of people don't run it. They say it's garbage now, but I wouldn't say 600 recovery for free is garbage, to be honest. Going over moves, front bar, running Malicious Resolve, your massive burst. It'll take a lot of time getting used to getting this as often as possible, and I'm a little bit mad that they got rid of the clock on the bottom that tells you how many light attacks you have built up, because I used to be able to get my 4th light attack and then I can light attack Spectral. So I wouldn't have my Spectral bow yet, but I knew as soon as I hit that light attack I would get my Spectral, so I could light attack into the Spectral bow, which was amazing. I love doing that. I can still do that if I really focus and count my light attacks, but it's a little bit of a pain, and if I'm not focusing, it can mess me up if I'm using that when it does nothing. Degeneration here, this is your flex bot. You can run spell power pots and replace this for something. In fact, I most recommend doing that at times because you want that major prophecy from the spell power pots if we don't have it here. Another option is using these immovable pots in open world. I wouldn't use them in duel because I'm not that type of person, but they give you the major prophecy you need, and then you get the immunity, so you don't have to really focus on the stam from your tripods because you're not going to be wasting as much stam due to your immovability that you have, and then you still get your major intellect and you get your major prophecy for the crit. So that's a very viable setup as well. Mass Hysteria is probably the most broken stun in the game. Goes through block. It's got actually a pretty big area. It hits 4.6 seconds if they're out of stam. If you use this consistently and you run them out of stam, 4.5 seconds is by far plenty. It's plenty of time to kill a player if you have your burst lined up and they don't have stamina to break. Elemental Drain, great move. If you're good at focusing a player, and that'll take practice, just if you don't know how, you can hold R3 on a player and it'll actually highlight them. So if you click in your right joystick, it'll highlight a player, drop your Elemental Drain on them, hit them with your auto attack or your light attack. to put Spell Strategist on them, and then you can burst that player. In a duel, obviously, you're going to just be focusing them, but in open world, when you use your shade and you're trying to zone people, and you're going to just want to focus one person, maybe two. I suggest focusing the healer, because if you don't focus the healer, that player's never going to die unless you hit them with the Hand of God and Meteor Spectral them. Back bar, we got Healing Ward. Now you don't get the upfront heal from this anymore. It's a little bit of a bummer, but I really couldn't care less. Combined with Dampen Magic, we have a massive shield with these, and Armor Master resistances now. Even if we're getting crit, that shield is sufficient. Siphoning attacks the recovery, like I mentioned. Crippling Grasp, probably the most annoying move in the game. You can prevent people from touching you if you use this properly. For the most part, I guess they can still damage you, but it's giving you 40% movement speed, so you can, or 30% with Major Expedition, and then it's 1.5 second root, so you can use this to force people to dodge roll. A lot of people will just bash for some reason. It's pretty funny. You'll hit them with a Crippling Grasp and they think they're CC'd, so they'll actually just start bashing, but it's just the root. It's pretty hilarious just to watch that. So you can prevent people from getting close to you with this. It's a big dot, actually a massive dot. It's just really great for kiting and keeping people away from you, helping you range them. If you time it right, you can almost stop their combo in a way, because if you realize the Standblade's running at you, about to incap you, hit him with a cripple, they then roll dodge. They'll roll dodge towards you. You can fear them once they come close to you. So knowing that someone's going to roll dodge after you hit them with a cripple, or they're going to roll dodge away from the cripple, it's similar to your Spectral. A lot of people, when they see the cripple, they will roll dodge 100% of the time. So you can take some pressure off by hitting with this. And if you actually do want to connect it though, because you want that Major Expedition. Not that we don't have Double Take, we don't get Major Expedition from that, so this is really our only source unless you're running Path. So it's great for giving you that movement speed and staying away from the enemy. Shadow Image is probably my favorite move in the game. In open world, you can place this behind line of sight on top of a rock. You jump off the rock, get away from the line of sight. They follow you. A lot of times you'll want to put it in a spot where they can't see, because 1 or 2 players will be slow on following you. So let's say you have 7 players on you. You place this on top of a rock. You jump off the rock. Some of them will be hesitant. They'll be like, I don't just want to jump off the rock after this guy. So 2 of them, let's say, stand up on the rock. 5 of them jump after you. As soon as you hit the ground, you teleport back up with your shade. You just got rid of 5 of those players, so they're going to spend the 20 seconds or whatever it takes climbing back up the rock. That's 20 seconds you now have to 1v2 instead of 1v7, making it a lot more manageable to deal with those 2 players. And then now it turns into a 1v5 because you killed those 2. Jump off, teleport back up. People are dumb. It'll work again and again and again until you're down to 2 people, 1 person, whatever it is. And if they don't jump off, okay, teleport back up. Try to burst one of them, engage them again, make them start damaging you, make them think they're going to kill you, and then jump off, and they'll try to follow to execute. At least one of them will always jump. And if they don't, then they're smart players, and you will have to resort to just using it around a line of sight. In that case, you'll just drop it around a tree, run the other way, go around the tree, teleport to the other side of the tree. At the very worst, you will be able to buy a couple seconds with this to rebuff or to burst one player. It's very, very helpful, and then it applies Minor Maim to them, combined with your Fear applying Minor Maim. I always have these 2 moves slotted, reducing 15% of the damage I'm taking. Very, very helpful. This has always been a feature, and that's a lot of mitigation. You don't really want to get rid of it. You don't need Wizard's Riposte because you have these, and I think this set's pretty garbage anyways. Your Shade actually does damage too, so a pretty BM thing to do is just have people die to your Shade. It's kind of funny. You'll think they're about to survive, and then your Shade just shoots an arrow, and it kills them at like 1,000 health. It's pretty funny. And then in a duel against a stand player or anybody who's meleeing you, you can just drop this far away and then slowly make your way away from the Shade with Cripple and Major Expedition, and then teleport back to it. Now, it's kind of a game here, because you don't want to overuse your Shade. If you overuse it, they're always going to camp it. They're going to drop Trap Beasts on it, whatever it's going to be. They're going to know you're going to teleport to it. But you don't want to underuse it, because it's a valuable feature to have and a great tool. And if you're underusing it, then they're never going to worry about it. They're not going to camp it. You're basically just going to have problems ranging them without it. So you want to find that nice balance where they're always thinking, okay, is he going to teleport to Shade here? Should I go run to his Shade? Should I stay by his Shade knowing he's going to teleport over here? Or should I go attack him and then he's going to teleport? So really you can manipulate this to the point where they can't really do anything to you, or it's difficult. And then against Magicka players as well, and Stamplars and things like that, you can use it against them even when they're a ranged class. If you see someone drop a meteor on you, now this takes pretty precise timing, but if you notice the power of the light or the meteor is about to hit your shade, teleport to it, make sure you're spaced away from it, they'll be thrown off so hard. They'll be like, oh shit, where'd he go? Now their meteor is wasted because they're not next to you, so they can't burst you. You just went to the other side of the dueling arena. The meteor hit you. Wasted ultimate. Or power of the light hits you. They might come close to you. Power of the light's about to proc. They're like, okay, I'm on a Dawnbreaker here. But what they don't realize is you just teleported away with your shade 10 frames before the Dawnbreaker hit. They wasted the Dawnbreaker. Power of the light did nothing. And you just wasted their ult. So it's pretty great. It takes a lot of timing and practice. But just keep using it until it works, because it's a incredibly fun move and super helpful in all instances. You just keep practicing. You'll love it once you can use this move. So I'd never take this off my bar, even without Necro. I'd probably rather take off my Spectral than take this move off. I love it so much. Now, Ice Comet, for our ultimates, we have Soul Harvest, Ice Comet, and Rest Ult are really the only 3 ones I use. You can use Soul Tether and Destro Ult if you want. Soul Tether is pretty cool. I used to run Incap here. They nerfed it, so I took it away, and people could just break CC, so it was becoming irrelevant. You can run the other Ice Comet here or the other Meteor if you just want to group bomb, get your ult back. That's fine. For dueling, I always run Soul Harvest and Meteor, because you can Meteor from the back bar, and then switch to your front bar and fear them, just as your Meteor is on the front bar. So having it on your back bar doesn't really make a difference. It's also giving you max Mag from the Mages Guild passes, increasing your shield strength on the back bar. And then having Soul Harvest front bar, you can combo with that. You can also run Soul Harvest front bar, Rest Ult back bar in open world, or Meteor front bar, Rest Ult back bar in open world if you really want to X and you're having problems surviving with your shade, or if there's just way too much damage and you need that Rest Ult, then I totally understand throwing on the Rest Ult. But it's just a lingering threat, because they don't know if you're going to Meteor or if you're going to Soul Harvest or what you're going to do. It's just a mix up there for players in duel or in 1v3 or something. They're never going to know if you're going to get Meteored in the back line or what's going to happen there. Some people, you could run Flame Reach instead of Mass Hysteria, but it's really just a knockback. People can block it, roll dodge it. It's just a waste of Magicka. I've never really liked Flame Reach, although Flame Reach Meteor is pretty nasty if they don't dodge the Flame Reach. As for stuff here, we are tier 4 Vampire. I just like the survivability at low health, and the magic recovery is super valuable. I don't really care about the fire damage we take or whatever it is. Doesn't really matter to me. Atronac, I used to run the Mage here, but I need the magic recovery pretty badly this patch, so I've been running the Atronac, and I don't need the magic Mag for my shields as badly. Tri-stat food here. A lot of builds you can run Witch Mothers if you're running Shackle and Dami House and all that. I just like having the high max stam here. If you run this build and you switch to Witch Mothers, you're gonna run out of stam. I almost guarantee it. It's just, if they CC you back to back 2 times, 3 times maybe, like 3 or 4 times probably, you're gonna run out of stam. Whether it's a fossilize especially is gonna take up all that stam. So you just need that high stam bar, so that by the time you're in a spot where you're gonna run out of stam, your stamina recovery has replenished your max stamina back up to a decent amount. Alright, as for champion points, let's get into these. I am 775 CP right now. I couldn't care less about getting to 810. I was max at 750, and then I stopped playing for a while, and I got behind on CP. It's just 1 or 2% here and there I'm missing out on. It's really not anything to worry about. I'll go over some of the stuff you'd want to put them in, though, if you are max CP. 1 sec, I need to get some water. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast. Pretty aggravated here because I just recorded this and I didn't turn on the feature where it records my audio, so I have to re-record it, and I'm trying to kind of get through it, although I want to cover everything that's going to help my fellow MAGBLADEs or people interested in the class. So for champion points, 61 into Warlord. We need to be breaking free at minimal cost so we don't run out of that stamina. That is very valuable. If you're not a stamina, you're going to die. You can't break CC, all it takes is a couple seconds CC'd for you to get killed. Stamina recovery, so we have 37 into Mooncalf to buff the stamina recovery, 75 Arcanist for that higher max Mag. Putting more points in here is kind of worthless because you're going to put in 12 points or whatever it is for that 1% where it's better spent in other spots where you're going to get 3 or 4% out of those 12 points. 28 Shadow Ward. I block cancel everything. If I end up using Stonekeeper, I'm going to block cancel more stuff. And if you're blocking Meteors, Flame Reaches, Power of the Lights, whatever it is, you don't want your stam to run out. You want some points in here. It's kind of a underrepresented trait to have for Magicka, but you don't want to run out of stam. 57 into Tumbling. You do roll dodge a lot. If you know you're going to get bursted and you don't have your shade up, you didn't use your shade properly, and you need to roll dodge, or if you need to break CC, roll dodge to stop an in-cap surprise attack or something, you want these points. And now I have 12 more points to put in here once I get them. I'm going to get Tumbling up another % or 2, and then if I have extras, I'll try to rework stuff probably to get Shadow Ward maybe a %. You might have to drop a % over here somewhere and rework it to get these 2 max jump points and not waste any points, if you care about doing that. For the blue tree, 61 Elfborn, when you hit those crit spectrals, it is devastating, so you want to make them do as much damage as possible. Those can hit from anywhere from about 8,000 to 14,000, I'd say. I've hit bigger, I've hit like 18,000 ones before, but that was on someone in like 7 light who didn't have Inpen or something, you know. So those things will be disgusting, catch people off guard. If you run Soul Harvest, it'll also increase their damage taken by 20%, making your Spectral do even more in your combo. Now, Elemental Expert, 13% here, just to increase your overall damage. 17 into Spell Erosion. If you have extra points in these trees from the 12 that I haven't placed yet, you can throw them into here or get an extra % somewhere else, or do both, because there's not going to be a jump point for this, and that Spell Pen will help you against people running heavy or medium. There are a lot of players with high defense builds now, and Armor Master, even you see my build, I'm running light, but I have Armor Master and heavy pieces, so you really need as much pen as possible. And Elemental Drain isn't going to do all of it. And now that we don't have Sharpened, really, I don't run Sharpened, so it's good to have some points in Spell Erosion. Staff Expert, another underrepresented trait. Light attacks do a lot of damage. My Weave, when a light attack, Shocklift procs, and Swallow Soul. You do that a couple times, Shocklift procs twice, let's say, and you get these extra damage on the light attacks, you'll do so much damage to people. These 30 points in here are so worth it for that 20%. That's an extra couple thousand damage in your line just from those light attacks with these points. 72 Master at Arms, almost all our damage is direct damage, so it's getting buffed by Master at Arms greatly. Thaumaturge, we have Cripple and Entropy. If you're using Destral, buffs that. If you're using Path, buffs that. Flame Reach, your Meteor Dot is being buffed by this, your Soul Tether, I think even your Heal, I don't know if it buffs healing damage over times, it doesn't, so that doesn't make sense, but points in here to buff your damage over times, it's just slowly going to tick away at people. You won't really notice it, but it definitely is going on. That Twist 12 points, rework it, get some points in Spell Erosion, maybe get an extra % over in Thaumaturge or 2, whatever it may be. Red Tree, 81 in Ironclad, to protect from getting bursted by another Magblade. Any class, really, you don't want to get bursted. This will stop you from getting one shot and crit to death super hard. Resistant, also, we need those critical resistances to stop from getting bursted. Now that we don't have the crit stopping on our shields, we can get crit with our shields, so these extra points. And then I also run 7 Impen, if anyone's wondering. So the 7 Impen is just more crit resistance to prevent from getting one shot. 28 Thick-Skinned to reduce damage over time effects. Those will slowly wear you down. This 12% mitigation is more helpful than you might think. 43 Hardy, 43 Elements Defender. Just overall mitigation. These apply to your shields. I think they used to apply to the shields also. That was controversial. I don't actually know, but it's 20% damage mitigation here in open world, or 10 for each, whatever you want to say. So that's going to help you survive. 28 Bastion. I used to run like 15 here, I think. 56 maybe, because the shields, I was stacking 55k max mag, whatever it may be, to get super big shields. Now I focus less on my shields and more on my resistances, so I've dropped the stat to 28. 14 Expert Defender, so we have another 11 points here. You could put those into here to stop from those light attacks building up on you, like I was mentioning before. That damage counts. Get some points in here, maybe some % in Expert Defender. If you have extras, you can maybe get a % in Bastion. And if you have any excess, you can put them in resistance so that you don't mess up your jump points and waste a point, because this crit resist will make a difference. So even if it's just 1 extra point, go ahead and throw it in there. That's all for CP. It doesn't really matter to me. 7. I think To be honest, once you get to about 600 CP, you're definitely have enough to be where it's not going to matter too much. 600 CP, you're going to be able to fight with the best for sure. Once you get to 700, I don't think it really matters that much anymore. You're basically just going to have, you're going to lose maybe 10% around the board from everything. You can maybe some more. 750, I think with your 750, it's not even a difference. Past 750, I think might as well be 810 really. And I guess if you want those extra percent, go ahead and farm it to 810 if you're not already. But it doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm perfectly confident with the CP I have, and it doesn't make a difference in my mind. Believe that's all. I went over traits, 7 impen, 3 max magic recovery on these, and all arcane for the max mag for our shields. Monster pieces are flexible. Pots, I have invis pots to get away from Zergs because I don't have cloak. Cloak's kind of buggy. I have spell power pots if you want to run something instead of entropy. If you want to run entropy, you can run immovables or tripots. Tripots and duel, I'd say, immovables in open world. Or you can run tripots in open world as well. Detect pots. I love these things. Nobody expects them. Even the best of players will cloak thinking they're safe, and then you just drop a meteor on them while they're cloaked, and they're like, oh shit, what happened? And they're dead. You can run Witch Mothers if you're running Shackle and stuff, but with this build, you're going to run out of stam if you run Witch Mothers. For if you want to run Poisons, you can go double dots on your back bar, I'd say. But I just like having the glyph here, and I don't want to waste Poisons, and it's a little bit cheesy. That's a big dot that stacks up on people with Thaumaturge and Crippling and all that stuff. I'll try to get some clips out soon. There might be some in this video. If there's not, keep your eye out. I have a couple clips. I'm trying to get more. My internet's not the greatest, so I can't PvP in Cyrodiil at all. I have to go to Imperial City where I can actually animation cancel. So my clips are basically all in Imperial City. Maybe some BG's clips. I can get some of those. I have some non-CP stuff that'll work. So just keep your eyes out. School's pretty rough right now, so I'm not going to be able to get too much out. I thought I'd get this out. Recent MAGBLADE build, everyone says the class is trash. This build is beautiful. I love it. I can play so well with this. So much fun. You can still win all your duels if you use this. And you can definitely X 5 players plus if you are playing your mind out. Like, if you play well, this build will work fine for you. It takes practice though. It's a difficult class to learn with your timing on your spectral, your shade, all your combos, so don't get frustrated if you're trying to use the class and it's not working. And if you have any questions or want any help, please send me a message. My PSN is LoginPC, so capital L O-G-I-N, capital P, capital C. Go ahead and leave a comment if you have a question. And I believe that's all. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.